Britain is looking eastward again. The United Kingdom's new aircraft carrier, the HMS Queen Elizabeth, and its strike group are on a 7-month tour around the world, which includes a stop at South Korea's port city of Busan. The deployment of the carrier, along with the UK's F-35B fighter planes, comes as part of the Royal Navy's efforts to expand its presence in the Indo-Pacific region, where the global power aims to increase cooperation in regional security, trade, and common issues in global governance. Against this backdrop, what's on the cards for South Korea-UK relations? Ahead of the British carrier's arrival on the Korean peninsula next month, we connect with the UK's Minister of State for Asia, Nigel Adams, who is currently visiting Seoul. It's lovely to have you on the show, Minister. How are you doing today?
Oh, excellent. Thank you so much, and thanks for having me on your show.
Well, thank you for being here, and well, sorry about the rainy weather, which I'm sure you get plenty of back at home. But well, how are you enjoying your visit to South Korea so far?
Well, it's fantastic. It's really exciting to be here. It's my first trip to Korea since I became Minister for Asia. Obviously, the pandemic has curtailed travel largely in the last 15, 16 months. But it's a really exciting time for United Kingdom-Korea relationship. I think we were thrilled to have President Moon over at the G7 last month. He and the Prime Minister Johnson hit it off, and they've agreed to try and tie United Kingdom and Korean links even closer on major issues like trade, security and defence, and we're very keen to strengthen those ties right across the Indo-Pacific region.
Well, I don't mean to sound too like immigration, but I mean, what would be the purpose of this visit? I mean, what are you hoping to see?
Well, we're going to be doing lots of things. We've already started. I've just had bilateral meetings with Vice Minister Shui. We're also going to be visiting the UN cemetery as well. I'm meeting up with our Defence Secretary for discussions with his counterpart. I've been to the British Council and seen the great work that they're doing over here in terms of English language training. And I'm also keen to see more about the brilliant culture that you have in Korea. Korean culture is making a big impact in the United Kingdom, as you're probably aware, in terms of its music and its movies. So, really excited to be here, and we've got a packed agenda over the next couple of days.
It does sound like very exciting times for bilateral relations between South Korea and the UK, especially after the G7 meeting. As you said, we're expecting stronger trade ties, security ties, diplomatic ties. And, well, we're actually expecting to welcome the British Royal Navy's aircraft carrier HMS Queen Elizabeth at our port city of Busan next month. And, well, your Prime Minister Boris Johnson, he's described the deployment to the Indo-Pacific as a pivotal moment for defence cooperation. So really, what significance does this trip hold for the UK, and how do you aim to really bolster defence cooperation with countries in the region, particularly with South Korea?
Well, you may have seen as part of our recently published integrated review that what is being referred to as an Indo-Pacific tilt, and how Britain sees itself globally over the next decade. And over the next few months, this historic deployment of our carrier strike group will work with our allies and our partners to help defend our interests and also the international order. And it gives us an opportunity to demonstrate our continued leadership of the Western Alliance and our desire to work with the growing prosperity of this region, the Indo-Pacific. So what it does, it brings together our different strengths, diplomatic, military, economic and cultural clout to secure people's security and living standards, both at home in the UK, but also across the world. So it's a really great opportunity in the spirit of cooperation to put forward this global Britain agenda.
Right, and it's a 7-month trip, isn't it? So it's going to be stopping in South Korea and other parts of the Indo-Pacific region as well. And well, according to your integrated review that you just mentioned, Global Britain in a Competitive Age, the UK intends to become the European partner in Asia with the broadest and the most integrated presence in the region within the next 9 years. So how are you aiming to achieve this?
Well, we're very much committed to deepening our relationships and ties with our partners in this region, both bilaterally and multilaterally. We think that's important, absolutely. Making sure that we work together in the region across trade, as I mentioned, security, and what we see as a force for good agenda, and an enhanced relationship with Korea is absolutely key to that ambition. And this involves cooperation on regional politics, security and cybersecurity issues, for example. You may be aware that the United Kingdom has had an ambition to become a dialogue partner with the ASEAN nations, and that's taken a step forward with their leaders agreeing to that. Our application and accession to the CPTPP and new bilateral trade agreements are all priorities for the Indo-Pacific tilt. It will enhance security and defence relationships. This includes cyber and maritime security issues as well. And it's also be good for our ambitions on climate. You'll be aware that we're hosting COP26 this year. This is a really key, important issue for our government, and I've had discussions with the Vice Minister today on that very subject. So we're very excited, and our tilt towards the Indo-Pacific is something that we're very much looking forward to develop.
Right, and of course the UK, as the host of COP26, has really been pushing for greater financing for climate, the climate agenda as well, especially in some of the countries in the Indo-Pacific region, where many of them are currently sort of lacking the financial capacity to really push through green recovery plans. So, of course, very significant, and of course another major pillar of cooperation for the UK and the Indo-Pacific region. And now, of course, trade. Strengthening trade links is important for both South Korea and the UK. What prospects do you see for the two countries' trade relations?
Well, the good news is that we have already signed up our continuity agreement with Korea. That's following our departure from the European Union. That was signed in August 29. This is strengthening a relationship that was already worth over £11 billion in 2020. And effectively what it means is that we want businesses to benefit from preferential terms and provide a firm basis for an ambitious trading relationship in the future. And as we develop our independent trade policy, we're committed to further developing our trade partnership with Korea, because this will bring prosperity and social benefits, not just for the United Kingdom, but also for Korea. So we are incredibly keen to develop those trade links.
And with both the UK and South Korea being quite advanced in terms of science and technology innovation, do you see any areas of cooperation that could be particularly important in going forward?
Yeah, well, we've already seen some great cooperation and some exciting deals that have been signed. The deals with Doosan and Ceres Power for the development of energy cells, and there's a strong pipeline of deals, opportunities. The UK is an expert in offshore wind, as you're probably aware, but there's potential with hydrogen and electric vehicles. Life sciences is another area where there's great potential, and not forgetting as well those innovative digital technologies, which we have great skills and experience, as do Korea. So I think there's a real synergies between our two countries and the skill sets that we have. And, you know, our Prime Minister is very, very keen on ensuring that we take a front-footed approach in terms of his green industrial revolution, which he likes to call it. So I think the opportunities are endless, and there's great opportunities for UK and Korean firms.
Yes, and well, definitely, and a lot of green sectors to be worked on together. And of course, South Korean policymakers are very interested in the sort of innovation clusters that you have all over Britain, how they've been really bringing forth these great solutions in a very bottom-up kind of approach with government support there too, of course. And well, as Britain's influence and presence in the Asia-Pacific expands, well, what is your position or approach in regards to handling North Korea? I mean, how do you hope to see the denuclearization process moving forward?
Well, we're absolutely committed to securing peace on the Korean Peninsula, and we've been very consistent and clear that North Korea's nuclear and weapons program must be dismantled. But we believe that diplomacy and negotiations are the best way to secure North Korea's denuclearization. And we've always urged DPRK to show restraint and work towards peace. And until North Korea does demonstrate that it will denuclearize, the United Kingdom will continue to robustly enforce the sanctions that we have in place. So we must, with all our international partners, continue to send an unambiguous message to North Korea on the need to engage in meaningful diplomacy with the US. They must refrain from provocative actions that damage trust and deliver concrete denuclearization commitments.
Well, South Korea has had the privilege of enjoying the UK's sturdy support throughout modern history, from supporting us in the Korean War and in diplomacy in handling North Korea. And well, now South Korea has recently transitioned from being a developing economy to a developed economy. The change of status came earlier this month as a result of a United Nations Conference on Trade and Development meeting. And well, as you know, that South Korea was also invited by Mr. Boris Johnson for the G7 meeting early last month. And well, now the country's role in the world seems to be growing. What kind of role or what kind of contribution would you like to see from South Korea as it continues to try and play a positive role in global governance?
Well, it's a hugely important player in the region, Korea, and that's one of the reasons why Prime Minister Johnson invited President Moon to take part in the G7. I think that sent a very strong signal that we're taking this cooperation incredibly importantly. There's so many opportunities, and it's not just the trade opportunities, but the opportunity to cooperate on defense, security, cyber. There's a real appetite for deepening our relationship with Korea. As I said before, that involves, cultural experiences as well. So I think it's exciting times for our bilateral relationship, and not least demonstrated by the fact that, President Moon and Prime Minister Johnson hit it off in Cornwall during the G7.
Well, it looks like bilateral relations are really taking off, not just in terms of diplomacy, but also security, trade and culture, as you just mentioned, and a lot of exciting developments to look forward to. But,
absolutely.
You have a very packed schedule ahead of you, so we'll let you go now. And this is where we'll end the interview. That was Nigel Adams, Minister of State for Asia of the United Kingdom's Foreign, Commonwealth and Development Office. Thank you again so much for joining us today.
My pleasure. Thank you.
And to our viewers, as always, thank you very much for watching.